Hey Bookends! Welcome to a 10-minute book review. I'm 10. Today's book review is going to be on P.S. I Hope This Finds You by Chanel Hardy. So we like to start off every book review with a star point, as in out of 10 stars, how many stars did this particular book garner, and a rating, as in if this was a movie or a TV show, what would this book be rated? So starting off with a star point, this book is 8 out of 10 stars. It was a really good read. And as a rating, this book would fall mostly, I would say, within the PG realm, just because there are discussions of things that have happened within history, and there are also discussions of, I don't want to say drug use, but the alluding to drug use and also alcohol, but it's nothing heavy. It's nothing that would have an 8-year-old saying, "Oh my, that's how you do it." You know, it's nothing to that degree. And so jumping right on in, this book, first of all, in order to enjoy this story, you cannot see it like a novel. You cannot see it like a book. You have to kind of see it like a collection of letters. Like if you found some letters that your grandparents wrote back and forth to each other. You have to kind of see it in that light, in that realm, in order to enjoy it. Because it's not as succinct as a novel would be. It's not chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Although it is set up by year. So how the author breaks the book down is it's different dates and months within a year, and then the next year starts the next section of the book, and then the next year starts the next section of the book. But it's not broken down in chapters, as in you know exactly what's happening. And I wouldn't say every day of the protagonist's life, but you're not seeing everything that's happening in these people's lives. You're seeing glimpses of their lives through the letters that they're writing each other. Kind of like if You Got Mail was just told via the email portion of it. It's instead of you actually seeing the people. So that's how you have to enjoy this book. Like if you're going to enjoy it, you can't see it as a typical novel. You have to see it as if you covertly found some old person's letters. Or older. I don't want to make people sound old. Older person's letters. The reason why I say old is because they're like 17 in the 1950s, like late 1950s, early 1960s, like 17, 18. So, I mean, they'd be like up there right now. They'd be like 70 or 80 or something right now, right? Something. I didn't do the math, but anyway, that's how you have to enjoy it. You have to imagine that you found some letters and that you're reading these letters, and you hope that nobody finds you while you're reading these letters, because it's starting to get good. So we start off with Clementine. Clementine lives in New York, and her family has this tradition of on the 16th birthday, they send off a letter in a bottle. So she sends off her letter in a bottle, and she puts her address on it. And she's like, "Hey, if anybody finds this bottle, write me back." Of course, she doesn't expect anyone to actually write her back, because what are the odds of someone getting her particular letter in a bottle? Apparently for her, the odds are pretty good. I wouldn't say a year later, it's a couple of months. I believe sometime in January of the following year, January, February, something to that effect, she gets a letter back from a guy named Daniel, who also happens to be a teenager. And so they start corresponding back and forth. He tells her that he wants to be an artist, but his parents like it's a no-go. And she tells him that she wants to go into singing and stuff like that, but her dad tells her it's a no-go. Which I can identify with Clementine, because I know I wanted to go to a high school that was specifically for the arts, because I wanted to go in for acting and being a violinist, because I was good at playing the violin. My parents said no, because there's no money in being a violinist, and what are the odds that you're going to be the actress that gets picked up to be able to do something or whatever. So I ended up going to a technical school, and now I work with computers all day. But yes, so I can identify with Clementine in that regard. So first of all, let me just tell you, if you're looking for like a sexually charged book or a smut book, this isn't it. This is not a smut book. You're watching two young people fall in love and grow into older people falling in love, kind of. So that was something that I really enjoyed. It wasn't all about sex because, of course, they're writing letters to each other, and this is in the 1950s and 1960s, so it's not like they... I mean, of course, they could send each other a Polaroid. Did they have Polaroids back then? I don't know if they had Polaroids back then. But, yes, they could always send each other pictures of themselves, but I don't know if they had... I don't think you could do all that kind of stuff via mail back then. So yeah, it kind of forces the two protagonists to get to know each other in a non-sexual way. Because one, they have zero idea how the other one looks. And two, they have very little chance of ever meeting in that kind of way. Clementine's writing is very... I don't want to say bougie because it's not bougie. But have you ever met like the art student in class? Like, instead of saying, you know, I'm thirsty, I am very parched and I need a drink. Will someone please help me quench my thirst? That's the kind of way that Clementine speaks. It's a very artsy way of speaking. And Daniel kind of speaks in the way, like, he kind of writes his letters in a way that someone would write a novel. Or kind of like a blog, almost. I didn't really see his letters as more so as letters. It felt more like he was kind of writing her just snippets of a book, kind of, just because of how he wrote. But you can tell the characters' personalities by the letters that they write. And there's even some artwork by Daniel. The first picture that he put in there wasn't really that great. He sent her a picture of palm trees, and then that wasn't really too great. Then he sent her another picture, which kind of progressed. It was like a Clementine, because her name's Clementine. So, yeah, it started to progress. Of course, you know, her family wasn't too happy about it. Her dad wasn't too happy about it, because, like, bro, you're talking to some random from Florida. You don't even know how old he is. You know, this is pre-internet, so... yeah, it's like, nah. But her grandmother is like a hopeless romantic, and she's like, girl, do you. Do you. So she does her. They end up finding out things about each other, such as, without ruining the book, Clementine has experienced a tragedy in her life, and also Daniel has experienced a tragedy in his life. And the first letter that he writes back to her is telling her that he has experienced this tragedy, and that her letter helped him through the tragedy. As the letters progress, they start to get to know more about each other, more about their wants, and they encourage each other to do what they need to do. Oddly enough, so when I was reading this is supposed to be a romance, because you look at the front of it, and it's two people about to embrace, so this is supposed to be a romance. But it tells about Clementine, like Clementine's writing Daniel, and she's like, bruh, this is dude who likes me. I think he's like a councilman's son or whatever, and... you know, he got me into this club so I could start singing, and now he want to look for houses, and I think I'm going to marry him. I don't even know. I think I might love him. All this kind of stuff. And Daniel's like, cool, love, great. I don't know how that works, but I hope it works for you. And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute. What kind of love story is this? If the two main protagonists, because legit there's only two people, because it's two people writing letters back and forth. So what kind of love story is this where girl's like, yeah, I'm in love with this dude, I think, and the dude and the other guy who she's supposed to fall in love with is like, yeah, you should go for that. But Daniel, well, first of all, it's kind of hard to fall in love over letters. But Daniel was just more so trying to be supportive, as in like, okay, well, I'm not an option for her. So if she finds this other person to be viable, why not? He ends up getting accepted into an art school. So she gets to start singing in a club because she really wants to start singing. And he gets accepted into an art school because he really wants to do art. And he ends up getting a, I believe it was like a Greyhound or something, to where he's supposed to be going. And he gets off early to go see her sing in New York. And that's when it's like, bam, I'm in love. She beautiful. She sound great. She like a siren. She called me over to her. I need this in my life. So they end up sharing a kiss before he gets back on the Greyhound to go to the art school place. And that's when he's like, this needs to happen. Now, you get to get a deeper look into the characters themselves, a more intimate look, because the letters that they're writing to each other are kind of intimate, but they're still guarded because this is someone who you're interested in, so you're not going to lay all your cards out on the table for them to see, because some of those cards might be a little bit ugly. But how Clementine copes with her trauma is by writing letters to the person who she experienced the trauma for, I want to say. And so she tells him to do the same thing, write letters to the person who you experienced the trauma for. And that might help you to process the trauma. It might make you feel better if you can still talk to the person. So through these secondary set of letters that they're writing to the people who they have trauma for, you get to learn more about them. So you find out that she's really thinking, okay, well now I'm not sure about brother man over here with the money and wants to buy a house and stuff like that. When this cute Puerto Rican dude, oh by the way, Daniel's Puerto Rican, when this cute Puerto Rican dude over here is like, yes. But you get to learn a lot about them through those secondary letters. So it's like the first letters between the two of them, you get to learn about how they interact with each other and what it is they like and things like that. The secondary letters that they're writing to the people who they experience the trauma for are the ones that you get to learn how they feel emotionally, how they're processing what's happening day to day. Without going too far in depth, because this is it's kind of a historical contemporary, kind of, even though it leads into the future, into the present. So because it is contemporary, keeping in mind there's nothing spectacular that's going to happen. It's just a day in the life of, a month in the life of, a year in the life of. So I don't want to give too much away, because of course it's a blank in the life of these two people, and so if I give away everything that happens in their lives, what's the point of getting the book, right? I will say that it travels from the 1960s all the way up until now, with a new person entering into the mix, which I thought was very interesting towards the end. It goes through Daniel going to the war. It goes through some interesting things that happen between them, and it really is kind of a cute little romance. Like, it really is cute. It's a short read. It's not very long. I finished it in a day, so it's not a very long read. And it really is worth checking out. The only reason why it didn't get a 10 was just because I felt like for some reason Daniel's writing didn't feel like a letter. Daniel's writing felt like he was sending her snippets of a novel that he was writing. Like, the way that he wrote didn't sound conversational. It sounded more of informational than conversational. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. Either way, though, it didn't take away from the actual book itself. It didn't take away from the romance. It didn't take away from Tu and me rooting for the two to get together, and then for the two to stay together through all the different things that they ended up going through. It also didn't take away from how impactful the actual ending was, because that was nice. That was a nice little, it was a little nod. It was cute. It was like the chef's kiss at the end of the book. It was really cute. I liked it, because, you know, I love a happy ending. I'm not big on romances. I'm not big on contemporaries, but I am a lover of the happy ending. So if there's a book that has a happy ending, or a series that has a happy ending, I will go for it, because life sucks. So having a book that doesn't is good. So yes, we really enjoyed this book. This isn't the first book that we've reviewed by Chanel. Or we can list them either up here or up here. I'm not sure where the actual picture is gonna go, but we can list some of the other videos. So I guess we can make some cards, or we'll list at the end of the video, and then also put it in the description as well. But yes, this has been a 10-minute book review. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Bye, Bookends.